Welcome back to the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased, except ours. I'm Colin,
I'm Craig.
and we don't have Daniel with us this week, but what fueled the inspiration to talk about this certain movie today, we were talking about Cobra Kai last week, and then we just kind of went off topic for a little bit, talking about Transformers 3, and Optimus Prime executing Sentinel Prime is the funniest thing I think I've ever seen in a professional movie, unintentionally.
Well, I feel like that's what started this. Like we've been sending each other memes like Optimus Prime's like a bloodthirsty warmonger, like double tapping a senior
The
citizen.
compilations on YouTube that are titled like Optimus Prime is a homicidal maniac are amongst the funniest things out there. And you sent me that one remix of Optimus Prime with a dodgeball about to execute Sentinel Prime in a dodgeball match, and it has that perfectly sounded dodgeball.
When the rubber hits someone's
Yeah.
face.
Oh, great, great. It's so funny. So now we're gonna be talking about not the Transformers Bay movies, which we already done, but we're going to talk about Transformers 1, which came out earlier this year, and I had no desire to see it because, as everyone knows, the trailer was infamous. It was garbage. The trailer looked like some kind of stupid kiddie comedy movie.
I
Like,
mean, honestly, it was pretty accurate.
well, yeah, but it was like Marvel dialed up to 11. So I saw the movie today, actually. I'm sure you did too, Craig. I saw it not too long ago, maybe like 2 hours ago, and I didn't hate it. I thought it was mostly okay. I thought it could have been a lot better had they not had Keegan Michael Key be so annoying and so unfunny, and the
Really, I'm
humor
surprised you
too.
liked them. I'm surprised you liked them more. I didn't really care for it.
Ah, okay. First things first. Again, the humor is absolutely terrible. I can understand maybe they're trying to add levity to the situation by lightening things up, but the humor does not work at all, and humor is subjective. I get that, but
Well, it's not even
again,
humor. It's like the constant quipping, all the
yeah,
dumb jokes they won't stop making every single moment.
it feels like dumb people humor, and I think I made that reference before, just like calling something dumb people humor, but it's something to get cheap laughs out of people that, and there's no thoughts to the joke. It's just stupid quipping. It's annoying. It's super annoying. It's frustrating because it bogs everything down. It can kill the mood of any scene. And this movie definitely would have been so much better had they not had that the constant stupid quipping.
Well, it's like every time they're trying to do something serious, it's some dumb joke, and like you were talking about Bumblebee, how awful
Nice.
he was. I don't think he said one serious line throughout the whole movie.
Is Keegan Michael Key is in his contract that whatever movie signs him, he has to be as annoying as possible. Is that in his contract? Because he's literally annoying in every movie he's in. He's
Maybe
not.
he's not acting.
He's just, yeah. They just put a they just mic him up and are like, all right, go walk around. I really don't think he's funny. Like maybe you can make the argument for Key and Peele. Sure, I haven't seen a whole lot of that. I have seen some of the clips and whatnot. I've seen all the famous ones.
But they
I'll
referenced one of his skits in the
They did.
movie.
I wrote it down too because I was like, "Oh my god, they really did that." Tron, when they first meet B, and he's talking to those dead robots because he's lonely and whatnot. It would have been so much better if he just played it straight. He wasn't saying anything jokey, but those were his friends. If they just played it straight, it would have been a lot better.
Oh yeah, I will say for all the dumb jokes, that one didn't bother me. Not just because I got the joke, but because it didn't feel as in your face. It was just some name. Like if they could have just, if you know what the reference was, it didn't really matter.
I feel
Like
like we're
we got the
yeah.
reference, but if it was just like some like, oh, he's
I
like
don't think
dirt or
kids would
whatever.
get that. If these were for kids, or this movie was for kids, I don't think they would get that reference.
And if they don't, it doesn't really matter. It's because that's why I think it was a better joke. It
Yeah.
didn't detract.
So, Craig, why don't you, since you're the only one here, why don't you just give me a quick plot synopsis?
Is this normally my job anyway? It's supposed to be some origin story for Optimus Prime and Megatron going from friends to enemies, although it's done very poorly.
Right.
Apparently, Sentinel Prime is in charge and he's making everyone work as miners for Energon because Energon's not being produced by their planet anymore. And these miners, they end up uncovering this conspiracy of Sentinel Prime, I guess being a false prime and enslaving everybody to give Energon to the Quintessons. and then they become enemies.
Did they ever explain why he was doing it? They said to save his own skin, but why? Like, what leverage do the Quintessons have over him that he has to give them their energon?
Well, they were saying that the war never ended. I
Okay,
guess he just killed them and he took power for some reason. I mean, you think you'd kill them after the war's over, but what do I know?
well, it turns out there's a whole bunch of primes, and he killed all of them so he could get the Matrix of Leadership. But Primus, which is like the the spirit of the primes in the core of the planet, I think. Oh,
Yeah, it's the planet.
yeah, he holds the power of the Matrix, and he can give it to whoever he sees is a true prime, whoever he sees fit for that. Because I thought in the beginning it was kind of cringy that they were doing all that exposition dump. Like right in the beginning, where Optimus has that hologram, I was like, oh boy, it's a little rough from the screenwriters. But I think for the most part, everything kind of made sense. You could see why Megatron would turn the way he did.
I see. I don't even agree with that.
Well, I guess you could say there's the breadcrumbs. What do you think?
Like, I can understand why he was upset with Sentinel Prime. That stuff made sense, but to go killing Optimus and like starting another faction, that's where that lost me.
Oh, I was talking about him turning on Sentinel. I was talking
Oh
more
yeah,
about that.
yeah,
I understand that.
yeah. That part made sense. I mean, he revered him, then see that he was a false Prime.
I thought so. Aside from Keegan Michael Key being notoriously terrible, I thought the voice cast was good. They had Brian Tyree Henry, Craig, the guy in the Godzilla verse and Godzilla X, the creepy podcast guy. I thought he did a good job in this. I really did. It's nothing's ever going to match up to Frank Welker or Peter Cullen, but they're not going to live forever, unfortunately. So I thought,
Yeah, they're both in their 80s.
yeah, I thought Chris Hemsworth, he did a good job. It sounds so weird knowing that that's him, and you could hear sometimes in his voice that, oh, that's him. But then, like when he does an American accent, it sounds a little off, but it wasn't too distracting. I think if people didn't know it was him, they would have no issue. But it's because you know it's him. It's like, oh, that sounds a little off.
Well, because other people have played Optimus Prime, so that's not really. I mean, that's yeah. Like I said, he's at some point he can't do it forever, and Peter Cullen's too old now. Where it sounds like a young Optimus Prime, he doesn't really have that anymore.
Well, it's mostly Orion Pax in this movie.
All true. The only thing with I guess his performance was at the very end when he was giving like a typical Optimus Prime speech. I felt like he was trying too hard to do a Peter Cullen impression,
Hmm. Well, I
but
think
that was like the only thing.
can you blame him though? Because everyone, Peter Cullen is or Optimus Prime is synonymous with Peter Cullen, so you hear that voice, you know who that is, and you know that voice is going to commit a lot of crimes in the movie. But
I was just saying at the end where he was normally just being like himself, I guess with an American accent, but then at the very end it sounded more like he was trying his hardest to do an Optimus Prime impression.
I'm coming for you. So this is one thing I noticed too. So I like how Sentinel Prime had that little sword, that dual wield sword they had in Transformers 3. I thought that was a neat nod.
Well, yeah, it looked like that is a combination of multiple. Like I think there was the Transformers animated one which had the same colors, and then he had the sword and like the not the wings, but like that little flaps that
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Falcon
that
Wing
he
one
had in the
had.
third one. Yeah. So at first I was confused that I thought this was connected to the Bayverse movies, but then obviously as it went on, I'm like, oh, this is nothing like. I don't think this is anything with the Bayverse movies. Because
I
obviously,
mean,
spoilers, Megatron kills Sentinel. He rips him in half at the end.
I mean, honestly, with how horrible their continuity is, might as well make it part of the same universe.
So what else did you not like about it?
I mean, shocking. I didn't like the humor. I didn't
Well,
really the
besides that,
story.
because the humor was terrible.
I don't know, just where they treated Optimus Prime and Megatron. I don't think they really made because people keep saying, "Oh, this is like the definitive origin story for them." Like, really? I didn't feel like it did that great of a job, even making Orion Pax become Optimus Prime. Because even at the end, when they get separated, I think Megatron and the Bee get captured by Sentinel Prime. And it's him and Alita. One Alita's like, "I'm better than you. You're terrible, but people seem to follow you, so you should be their leader." It's like, really?
Thanks.
Like,
yeah,
it's not very inspiring.
yeah, that was kind of like finger wagging at Optimus.
it's just like so many cringy moments where they if they just took themselves a little seriously, it'd be a little better, but they had to make a dumb joke. They had to like undermine everything.
Yeah, they were kind of undermining Optimus because, like his name suggests, Optimus. He's always the optimist in any situation. He
Optimus
always
means I think best in Latin. Optimus.
sure. I did not know that. I was just more looking at it like he's always optimistic. He's a leader at heart, Optimus Prime, and he'll always he always have to do what's right. I guess you could say.
And he's inspiring. Like people joke, like everyone's willing to sacrifice themselves for him, and then you get people saying like, "Alita, no, actually, you're terrible." It's like, oh, gee, thanks. This is your biggest supporter.
Yeah, she felt the Lita character felt a little again like condescending throughout the whole movie.
I didn't really think they even needed her, to be honest.
Honestly, if it was just Optimus Prime, Megatron, and B, who would be rewritten and not unfunny like however they told Keegan Michael Key to act, I think it would have been a little better. Alita didn't really add anything to it besides just saying like, "Oh yeah, you're a terrible leader. I'm better than you." But like you said, people respond to you, I guess.
Yeah, it was like one of the worst. Yeah, I guess we don't watch too many movies, but like one of the worst speeches I can remember in recent history of like a movie to be like, ah, inspirational. Like, I just can't imagine someone writing that thinking that's a good line.
Well, who did write this? Repeat. Oh, Eric Pearson. Oh my God, the guy who has written such classic hits as well. He's done a lot of Marvel stuff, and he's been credited in a lot
Oh
of
no.
rewrites. Uncredited rewrite for Ant-Man, Spider-Man: Homecoming. He co-wrote Thor: Ragnarok. Had an uncredited rewrite on Pacific Rim Uprising, Infinity War, Endgame, Detective Pikachu. Co-wrote Godzilla vs Kong. I think he was a sole writer. Oh, he wrote Black Widow.
Oh
Had an
God.
uncredited rewrite, or it says additional literary material for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium. He's writing the Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four first steps. Oh no. I'm not a fan of this guy's work. I think
I imagine having that as like I guess your resume, right?
well,
Oof.
the studio heads look at the resume. They don't look at the quality of the writing. They're like, "Oh, this movie grossed this much." And he has well, not officially. He doesn't have Endgame or Infinity War officially on his resume. It just says uncredited, but he has Ragnarok, Black Widow, which did okay. Godzilla vs Kong did well at the box office. So they see the box office numbers and they think it's directly because of its writing, not that
Are
it's a
they really that
brand.
dumb?
I think they are. I think studio heads are really that dumb. Because then, how do you think these bad writers get recycled on everything? Real
I
quick,
mean,
this is a tangent. Did you hear the news? This came out maybe a week or two ago that Disney is hiring Simon Kinberg to like write the new Star Wars trilogy, or he's having some hand in writing it. There's no other explanation, Craig, how these guys keep getting jobs. There's no other explanation.
I think there's definitely some sort of, I guess, nepotism you want to call it. They keep rehiring their friends and stuff.
Even
But
though their friends aren't good at what they do.
yeah, I think it's got to be that, and I think these people are just yes men. They have no artistic integrity. If you say, "Oh, rewrite this," they'll go, "Yes, whatever, boss." How you say jump, I say how high. That's what I think. I don't think they're have any artistic quality to them. They will do whatever the studio wants. Oh, we need to rewrite it for, we did some test screening. We need to rewrite this.
We
Will
need
you
more
do it?
jokes. Eric
Yes.
Pearson, come in. You did Marvel. You write some terrible jokes. Okay. Duh, okay, boss.
I mean, at this point, I think ChatGPT can make funnier jokes than these people.
I just can't emphasize how humor can really just kill a movie. Bad humor can kill a movie. And I think this is one of the examples where it's so distracting, it bogs it down. And it's not even funny. If it was funny, yeah, I wouldn't mind as much, but it's not.
Yeah, because that's the thing too. If it was funnier, that it's like with everything. If you do it well, people will be a little more forgiving. But if you're horrible, you start to notice the worst parts of the movie.
Ironically, the humor in the Bay movies, at least the first three, are better than this.
Oh my God, I still watch clips and I'm laughing. Like I was just watching clips from when he was going to buy his first car and he's driving to the Porsche dealership. He goes, "Oh no, no, you're gonna buy me a Porsche." And he drives off.
Oh
He's like,
yeah. You thought Porsche was gonna be your first car? So like in the third one even I was rewatching a clip where what was that guy's name? Mr. Wang, Deep Wang. He corners Shia in the men's bathroom. He's saying Deep Wang is a reference to the Watergate deep throat thing. As a kid, when I saw it in the theaters, I obviously didn't get that. I was like, "What is this man doing?" And he pulls out his manifesto, which is like a holster in his pants.
Like, see, people say that's like, dumb people humor, and maybe to an extent it is, but it's executed extremely well. Like the Shia's reaction, the whole thing, it's peak. I love it. This is just, it's dumb. It's not even. I can't even imagine kids liking this. In all honesty, because it didn't do well at the box office, so I can't
Well,
imagine
I
people
think
actually enjoyed this.
I just want to say I also like the part. Then we'll talk about the box office in Transformers 3 when Shia goes back to confront Deep Wang, and Deep Wang's like, "Who are you? Who are you? You straddled me in the bathroom. That's only happened to me once in this life. I wouldn't forget it." Say what you will about Michael Bay, but he knows how. Like he lets the actors act natural for the humor.
Oh, I think one of the best lines in the movie too is when they go, "Oh, where's Bumblebee? Oh, Bumblebee's off on his missions. Oh, so even your car has a job."
So great. So the box office. I think the box office had a. It didn't do too well. It's probably a box office bomb. Yeah, it definitely is because it had a budget of 75 to 147 million dollars, and it grossed 128. So I think maybe the biggest thing that went against it in the box office is probably the trailer because the
Well,
trailer again was absolutely terrible.
we know it's a bomb for a fact because a few days ago Hasbro announced that they're no longer financing films anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I
They
guess no
announced that?
more. Yeah, I saw it recently because people were trying to say, "Oh, Transformers One did pretty
Oh,
good," and then
yes, yes. Under the future tab for Transformers 1, it says on November 20th, following the film's underperformance, Hasbro announced that they'll no longer be co-financing film adaptations of their products or IPs, instead leaving external studios to exclusively fund such projects. That's honestly probably a much smarter option for them. People pay them to use their IPs. Sure.
oh, that too. But when people trying to, say, "Oh, actually, it didn't do that bad," trying to fudge the numbers, and then they announced this, like, yeah, it did pretty bad.
Well, you just look at the base numbers anyway. Even if 75 million is the highest amount it had for its budget, which is very, 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 very unlikely, it grossed 128. Like no amount of,
Well, there
number
there were people out there who were
fudging.
trying to argue it, and this basically shuts them down.
Oh yeah. I'm surprised like they're using the word underperformance and not bomb. It grossed 59.1 million in the United States and 69.8 million in the worldwide or in other territories. It's not quite a bomb like Joker, but it is a bomb. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't good. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. And if you want to tell a story of Optimus Prime and Megatron be going from friends to
Well,
enemies, I feel like a TV show would be better.
that and it did get good reviews, so I guess a lot of people did like it. It has an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics, a 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb, which is user rated, and it has a 64% on Metacritic. So it got pretty good reviews, all things considered from critics. I didn't hate it. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. I guess maybe people like it more if they're Transformers fans. I'm not really a Transformers fan. Like I know the movies, I did used to watch the show, and which got me thinking. Like, didn't in the original show? I don't know about the comics because the comics came first. Wasn't Megatron already Megatron when Optimus was Orion Pax in the show?
Yeah, there was an episode where like they kind of like detail how the war started and how they became who they are. Like I think Optimus was some like dock worker who got killed by Megatron, rebuilt to become his greatest enemy. Like, well,
Yeah,
again, the
he
original
stood up
show
to
too was made
Megatron
to
or
sell
something.
toys.
Oh yeah, that's it. Well, the
So
whole
like,
movie was a thesis statement on that, Craig. The original movie.
well, what I mean is like they didn't really think their lore through. They were just making up as they went along because it's like, okay, well, this new line's coming out. We gotta figure something out.
Oh, 100%. But
Which I
didn't
mean,
like
granted, they did a good job, but what they had.
didn't Megatron like kill? Yeah, he Optimus was standing up to him or
Yeah,
something, and then
yeah, he
Megatron
was some
shoots him,
nobody. Yeah.
and then That right there shows who Optimus is in like 10 seconds, where he's a nobody standing up to the greatest threat or greatest enemy. Doesn't care what happens to him, he's still standing up for the good, and
Yeah.
for good and will. And he gets shot and killed, and then he gets reborn to Optimus Prime. I think for me, and I've said this countless times, whenever there's like a prequel that I'm using quotes here tells the untold story, anything that comes with an origin story, I'm always not looking forward to watching it because you know the end goal, or you know the end product. What can you really do to justify making an origin movie? Like you know how they get there. It doesn't matter how, but you know they get to that point. Like what's the point in, or what's the purpose of trying to explain the origin?
Especially in this case too, where people probably don't even know that they were friends. They know them as mortal enemies, so I don't think people know that they were friends at one point. So they didn't really explore that all that well either. Like the one time to say like, oh, before they became mortal enemies and what they were like dumb minors together. Like, oh, great.
They were saying bad jokes and they'd fist pound each other.
Yeah, that was their thing. They yeah, they did a fist pound every time something happened. It always reminds you of like those things in movies they'll try to add to make it more relatable. Everybody will have like this dumb quirk where, oh, we fist pound every time we do something. That's how you know we're friends. Or have this weird nickname for each other. You know what I mean?
I think I do.
Well, like, actually, I remember thinking about this when I saw A Man and the Wasp, where Janet kept calling her daughter Jelly Bean or something to really drive home the
I,
fact that
I
like
do
try to
not.
force this relationship.
I do not remember that at all.
There's probably some term for it, but like they try really hard to force a relationship, and they'd give
Oh,
themselves
I
like
think you're thinking of Scott and the daughter, right? Isn't Scott called her Peanut or something?
that too, where it's like, oh yeah, let's give each other a nickname that shows where we like each other.
Yeah, you don't actually show it on screen, and you
We'll
just
just
have
give
them
you a
say it to
nickname,
each
and
other.
yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm probably describing it horribly, but if you could understand
Probably.
my mad ramblings, that's what I mean.
No, that makes sense. It's like little nicknames for each other that you don't show the relationship. The audience, I guess, is supposed to understand it, but not really understand it if you're just using nicknames.
Yeah, and
Like
they're on
you're
screen
not
together
going
for like
into
10
that.
seconds.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, this is their relationship. They're supposed to care about each other, but we're not going to show that they care about each other.
Yeah. So when they get betrayed or something happens, then you're like, oh, that's why they're upset because the one time, like, oh, they said that nickname to each other.
So, what is the appeal of this movie? Because does the audience really care that Optimus and Megatron are friends at one point? I mean, I guess you could say it's tragic that they were friends and then they become sworn enemies, but oh, Megatron's pretty evil if you ask me.
Well, the best part too is this has been done. Like, this isn't the first time they've talked about their origin. I mean, this has been done dozens of times, how they used to be,
They're
friends,
brothers.
allies. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. So this isn't the first, like, if this was the first time they were adapting, and I can understand the appeal, like the first time we see this, but this isn't the first time. So I don't know what new ground they're really treading.
They
Because,
aren't. It's all like
that
rehash.
too. Because we were talking about Optimus Prime being a homicidal maniac, I was replaying those Fall of Cybertron games, and they tell the origin of like, a little bit of Optimus Prime and Megatron. It's done so much better than this movie. A
Was
video
it
game story is better than the movie.
was it like the TV show, the original show, or were they friends in those games like prior to the war?
Well, like prior to the war, they were Megatron was like some gladiator, became like a bit of a revolutionary. Optimus kind of agreed with him, but then Megatron became very power hungry, and they split apart. Like all tyrants do, right? They say one thing and do another.
Yeah.
That was kind of thing. Like they kind of agreed that there was corruption and they should try to do something about it. But Optimus wanted the peaceful route, Megatron wanted the violent route, and yeah, then the war started.
That's perfect. I don't know why like this movie tried to explain everything. I mean, I guess for Transformers fans, they must have loved all the G1 designs.
Well, who doesn't? But
Does look nice, but I can't imagine that's a draw. Like If I go on IMDb right now and I read reviews and I see people saying, "Oh my God, it's great because of the G1 designs," I'm gonna lose faith in people who review these kind of movies.
That's the other thing too, because it's a movie, like an hour and a half movie, there's only so many characters you could fit into. If you have a TV show, you could fit more of your favorite characters into it.
Yeah, I think they should do a TV show with just the Transformers, and it could be on Cybertron. Maybe before, during, and after the war. And maybe it could lead up to the Bayverse movies, but I don't think they should do that because those movies are a mess. Like chronologically too. Like nothing makes sense. Especially not to talk about those movies again, but we mentioned this probably in our review. The plan in the third movie for the Decepticons to trick the Autobots into reviving Sentinel Prime, despite the fact that the Matrix of Leadership was lost for thousands of years, and only Optimus could use it. And the Fallen wanted to use it to harvest suns. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I think like this movie probably suggests. I think they should just do a clean slate of Transformers TV shows or movies.
So I think there was one that took place during the war, but I think it was made by Machinima or Rooster Teeth or
Machinima. Oh my God. That was
I
years
forget
ago.
what company made it. It was some CGI show on Netflix. I never saw it, but I'm trying to remember who made it.
What's?
That doesn't
Should I
matter.
just look up like Transformers Netflix? Transformers Netflix. War for
Yeah, here it
Cybertron
is.
Siege.
Yeah, I never saw it. I heard it was pretty bad, but that was the one where it was like took place during the war.
Again, like I don't really care too much about the war stuff because the Autobots eventually they both of them leave. I don't know. As I said, when it comes to
Well, you were
origin
saying you
stuff,
want it to take place without the humans on the planet, so that kind of does do that.
yeah, but yeah, that's true. I just contradicted myself. You caught me. Again, with human characters, as long as it's done well, I don't think anyone would care. But
I just don't think this does really anything. Like you said, it doesn't do anything special. It's treading old ground. It's not doing anything better. In fact, it's probably worse in every imaginable way.
well, at least it's shorter. It's under 2 hours. There's that. The Bay movies are very long. All of them are over 2 hours.
Yeah, but I like my very extremely violent and gory robot destruction.
This doesn't really have it because this is rated PG. I
Well, I'm
mean,
saying at least for the Bay Formers,
no,
yeah, it's
I
two
know
and a
what
half
you're
hours, but
saying.
I'm getting my gore. I'm getting Optimus Prime ripping out Megatron's head and spine.
You got Optimus Prime saying, "Give me your face," and then ripping apart that giant robot, the
Yeah, it
helicopter
rips
robot.
out his heart.
Oh, the Fallen. Oh, I was talking about when he uses his hooks to rip that robot's face apart,
I mean,
Grindor or something.
just imagine trying to do that to someone in real life, like taking hooks in someone's face. It's like, oh my God, it's so
I don't think you would
violent.
even see something like that in Saw. Like so violent.
Oh, I love it.
See, it would have been funny at the end if Optimus Prime just like goes on this rampage where he kills like all the Decepticons.
Well, that's the thing too. This is supposed to be the start of the Cybertronian War, and I just don't understand how you're supposed to start it. I mean, oh, Optimus Prime and Megatron have one disagreement, and now they're mortal enemies. That's what people keep saying. It's like, oh, it's the best adaptation. It's so good. I'm like, is it? Is it?
Is it though? I think what this movie desperately needed was the what's that saying? No sacrifice, no victory theme that plays like at the end of the first Transformers movie. And they played some of it at the end of Transformers Beasts or Beast Wars, if I
Oh,
remember
Rise of the
correctly.
Beasts.
Yeah, oh whatever, Rise of the Beasts. They need that theme. I think that theme is so great for Optimus Prime whenever he's saying like something inspirational or like gazing at the sky. They need that.
Probably trying to diverge from those movies.
Yeah, but how can you though? Those movies are iconic in their own ways. It may be infamous ways, but they're still are iconic.
Won't be peeing on a person.
Bumblebee, stop lubricating the man.
Uh, yeah, because
Good
watching this made me just
times.
think, God, I missed the Bay, at least the original trilogy for the Bayformers.
Oh yeah, I don't care for the fourth or fifth one.
I mean, does anybody?
No, I don't think anybody does.
'Cause he's just, I don't know, it feels just so bland, so boring.
But so I think one thing this movie could take away though from the Bay movies is that, especially in the third one, I don't even remember in the second one. In the second half of the movie, when things get serious, there's really no joking. It's like just straight like carnage and violence. And my point for this movie is that in the second half of this movie, even when the Bee and Megatron are captured, there's still jokes going on. Like, can it not take itself seriously for even a little bit?
Oh, I know, it's hard to, it's hard to get invested when the characters aren't invested.
Yeah, maybe, I think Optimus is probably the most serious one. I don't remember if he said any jokes at the end, but
Mm.
I just hate the terribly misplaced comedy. It can really derail a movie. I think
Oh,
this is one
especially
of those
Bumblebee, where
cases.
he's like, "Oh, want me to cut these people in half for you?" It's like, that's the
And
thing
then
too. It's
they're
like,
like,
"Oh,
"These
don't
are the
kill
good
Sentinel."
guys, Bumblebee. These are the good guys." He's like, "I didn't do this, right, guys? I didn't do this." It's like, "Oh my god."
Well, especially it's tone deaf when they're like Bumblebee's like massacring people and like it's played for jokes. Everyone's laughing now. It's like, "Please don't kill Sentinel Prime." And he gets killed over it.
Yeah, it's kind of hypocritical where they're killing all these other people, but it's not Sentinel Prime, the biggest liar out of everybody. You can just kill the grunts and lackeys,
No,
sure.
you don't have a name. Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, you're just generic looking gold robot. Yeah, you can just rip him in half, sure. Why not? You can blast him in the face, Optimus, but Sentinel Prime is a no-no. A little
Even what
hypocritical.
was it? Alita one was like trying to kill the spider one. It's like, oh, look, she has to be in one piece, and she's like, oh, fine, I won't kill her. Okay, it just comes off as incredibly tone deaf for the movie.
See, if Optimus didn't kill anybody, he's like being a pacifist, and that's fine. Because that's kind of how he was in the G1 show. At least the first two seasons, where he was kind of the guy that'd take the high ground or high road, not the high ground.
Until the movie we went, that's when he started killing
Yeah, it's
everybody.
the movie where he just went on a rampage, is about to execute Megatron.
But yeah, Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
But that didn't feel out of place because that's like he's at the end of his rope. You know, he's done. The siege on Autobot City was getting too out of hand, and Optimus comes in as backup.
Well, I think everyone was getting desperate because I think Optimus was trying to retake Cybertron, and then he got derailed.
Yeah, because then there was the attack on Autobot City, and Optimus and the Dinobots come in as backup.
Then Hot Rod had to get him killed.
Yeah, then Hot Rod had to stop Megatron or grab his gun or whatever.
Yeah, oh no, you don't. And Optimus gets shot to
It's still
death.
funny that Optimus was going to just execute Megatron. I would have been curious to see that, like him just blasting him to death.
Well, I don't think he'd have been, like we did to Sentinel Prime, like double tapping. He probably would have just, done it in a much more dignified way.
You brought this on yourself, Megatron. No, Optimus, the Geneva Conventions. It's more like the Geneva Suggestions, Sentinel. We could talk all day about the Bayverse movies.
I mean, even the G1, even again, I know it was designed to sell toys, but at least there was some charm to it. Like this, I just feel it's so lifeless. For a movie that, yeah, granted, they probably are still trying to sell toys, but something that's trying to actually tell a story, they do a terrible job. Like that, I feel like that's so far, like how terrible these writers are these days. That a show designed to sell toys, specifically trying to sell toys, could do a better job than a movie that's written trying to actually tell a good story.
I mean, yeah, the first movie does tell a story, even though you could like the cynical part of anybody if you're an adult is like, yeah, they're killing all these characters to sell toys, but it works in that movie. It really does in the first one.
Sure, with the G1 movie.
Yeah, the G1 movie.
And even the show, like, you can see, and I know it's a kid show, but I enjoyed much more watching that than watching this.
Yeah, and there were very little jokes in the G1 movie. Very little jokes because there's this giant transforming planet that's going to come around and eat everything and destroy Cybertron.
I mean, there were some jokes, but it was, it's more of like character interactions, not
Well, I
a
mean,
group.
yeah, like it wasn't. constant throughout. It wasn't like B just not shutting up and quipping every 10 seconds. God, I hate him.
Are some of the jokes or just some of the dumb things the character said? It was it Springer, like a better thing to do
Oh,
tonight than die. Which I don't, it's not meant to be a joke. It's just so stupid.
it's a stupid line, but it's a great line. Well, I was also going to say with the Dinobots in that movie, even though they're more jokey, it's kind of who they are as a character because they're literally primitive brained. So them like running around and saying stupid things is like in character for them.
Yeah, excuse me. Or I was just thinking
Me,
of the one.
Grimlock, no like you.
I was also thinking when I think they were trying to escape Autobot City, Grimlock was like a dog like near a cup. It's like Grimlock, get your face out of here.
Yeah, yeah, he's listening to Cup's War Stories.
Yeah. Also,
Me, Grimlock, no like you. Yeah, what you gonna say?
they even had some better jokes where when they got captured by the Quintessons and they were in their courtroom, and they're just like, "What do you plead, innocent or guilty?" And they just kill you anyway. Even those kinds of jokes, like maybe kids don't find that as funny, but it's just better written than what the slop we get now.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
love the Quintessons. They should be more stuff. Like in this movie, they were just weird tentacle monsters. Wish they would appear more stuff.
Well, I think they hinted at the Quintessons in Transformers 4 because they're the creators of the Transformers.
Yeah, then they had that lady Quintesson, which
Quintessa.
yeah,
She
that
was in
was the
the
name of the
fifth
planet.
one. She's in the fifth one, right?
Honestly, I don't remember.
That's the one where they're like on Easter Island at the end because that the statues that are sticking up are like where Unicron can attach himself to the planet. I think. I don't
I remember it
remember.
was so weird.
Or there's like a dragon running around. There's like Merlin in the beginning of the movie.
It was where apparently Bumblebee was fighting Nazis in World War II
Oh
or something.
yes, and they had like a picture of like George Washington with Ironhide. It was something so
Crossing the
crazy.
Delaware.
Yeah, it's something so insane.
Like, I think they had lost it at that point.
Yeah, they definitely didn't care. Even though they said in the first movie, the Megatron was the first Transformers to interact with people.
Yeah, Optimus Prime was like fighting with the King Arthur and his knights.
Yeah, and that was like in the 1890s, early 1900s. Then we find out that the Fallen was, back there in Egypt, running around, and then the other prime or the other, yeah, there are primes, right? That sealed up the Fallen with their body in Egypt to hide his planet harvesting or sun harvesting device.
I feel like you could have done a better way to hide the Matrix, but we guess we don't have to get into that.
And then in the 60s, there's a whole bunch of robots on the moon.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't even remember the fourth one. Oh, and the fourth one, the Quintessons were testing their, I guess, Transformers making device on dinosaurs.
Yeah, I don't know how that made the Dinobots because it was like
But the
off by a few million
Dinobots
years.
were captured warriors or something like that. I think in that movie.
I'll be honest, the more we think about it, I think the more our brains are gonna melt.
Yeah. Sentinel's plan made no sense, and the logistics of it made no sense in the third movie. But what I should say is, yeah, them relying on the Matrix leadership made no sense because, like I said earlier on, before my head started to fry, they needed the Matrix leadership, which Optimus needed to have, despite the fact that the Decepticons had a plan to use the Matrix leadership as a device to harvest the sun, and it was lost for thousands and thousands of years.
You put more thought into that than all those writers combined.
I also wrote down something in this movie that I like, or at least it was a nod. Alita says to Optimus, "You don't have the touch or the power." A nice little
I
nod to
understood that
the
reference.
yeah, a nice little nod.
There
I
was
th-
one
the
pose
Prime
Optimus
said,
had.
"We'll say again."
No, you go first.
The Prime said, "Till all are one," which is what Optimus said in the first movie when he was dying, thanks to Hot Rod. I only have four notes on this on my app. I wrote. I said, "You don't have the touch or power." Aatron, so all are one, and Sentinel has the same sword from Transformers 3. Those are my notes during the movie.
'Cause there's a lot more references that I don't really want to get into because no one seems to care. But there was one that I think you probably would have noticed if you rewatched it. Optimus, when I think when he charged the Decepticons, I forgot whether he was the Prime yet or not, but he had that pose like in the movie where he's gonna take it all. I'm losing my words today.
Yeah, are
When
you
he says
okay? Did you take your
Megatron must be
medicine?
stopped no matter the cost, he does that pose where like he's in the truck and he flies out of it.
Oh, he did that. Did he say that
Yeah.
word for word? Megatron has to be stopped no matter the cost.
No, he didn't say that, but he had the
Oh,
pose
okay.
that when he flew out of the truck.
Oh, okay, okay. He had the same sword that he had in G1,
Yeah,
the
the axe.
battle axe thing. Um,
There's tons of like character cameos too, but
yeah,
I
they had
mean,
like Jazz, obviously, Ironhide. I saw
yeah,
Shockwave,
Ratchet.
Star. Did they mention? I don't know. Did they show Ratchet? They mentioned him.
I thought I saw Ratchet,
I only saw us once.
Wheeljack,
I did see
Sunstreaker.
Wheeljack. Yep. Looked like they had Brawn in there too. I think I saw
Yeah,
him.
I know. I remember Sunstreaker. I think I saw Red Alert and Sideswipe. Those ones I remember.
Now, obviously, there was Starscream, Shockwave, Soundwave, and of
Yeah, like
course,
all the
he had to
jets.
make a stupid joke saying, "How many of you guys are named Wave?"
It's literally two of them. It's not even a funny joke because you could make a joke why all so many of them look like Starscream, all the Seekers. Because you remember, like, Starscream, Skywarp,
Yeah,
Thundercracker,
Thundercracker.
yeah, Ramjet, I think Thrust. I'm forgetting some other ones, but they all look like Starscream. That's a better joke to make. But no, you make two characters have Wave in their name. Like, it's not even funny or
Just
accurate.
stupid.
Yeah.
So, I guess one last thing I'm going to ask because I really don't know, and I'm going to assume it's nothing like the original. They said that Starscream and his little faction worked for the High Guard or something,
hmm
and then they started to go after Sentinel because he left him out there or something. Yes, no.
Oh, that's what I was assuming.
Was that how it was in the original?
Oh, like in the original cartoon?
Yeah, I think they're all just like divvied up by factions, and they're always on Megatron's side.
So if I remember from the G1, the Autobots and Decepticons were made from, I think the Decepticons were the war robots. That's why they're more inclined to attack, while the Autobots were the peaceful robots. That's kind of where the division came from.
Ah.
But in the like the because a lot of it's from like the War for Cybertron games, so it was a lot more mixed. I mean, people coming from all different sides to pick their faction. Like
Oh.
Starscream was like a scientist, and then he joined the Decepticons.
Well, Shockwave
Other,
was too in that game, right? He was like experimenting. He made the
yeah.
Dinobots in that game.
Well, Shockwave's always been a Decepticon. It's just like he's so evil.
He's so cool looking though. He's so cool.
Oh, of course, that's why everyone likes Shockwave. And that's when too, like they like make all those jokes like he kept getting punched in the eye. It's like it's not even funny.
Yeah, he's like, "Ow, my eye."
Yes, we get it.
Yeah,
He's a
we
Cyclops.
yeah we get it. And they had that stupid running joke about Optimus always getting punched in the face. I'd expect something like a teen comedy to have that, not a Transformers movie.
It's again, it's just executed poorly, and I just keep rolling my eyes every couple of seconds.
And I'm rolling my eye every second when Keegan Michael Key is speaking. My goodness.
Oh, how could we forget about that one joke he kept making most of the movie?
Oh my god. So kept on doing that dumb voice too.
And they probably think I can't imagine anybody thinking it's funny. Like I want to find the person who actually thinks it's funny.
If he said it once, whatever. It's still not good. But he kept on saying it and saying it.
Even at the end of the movie, he's saying it's like, could you please stop it? It's not like, is this like maybe some sort of like avant-garde, art piece trying to torture their audience? Because I feel like that'd make more sense than like doing this joke.
It's like Shia watching all of his movies, and there's that stretch where he just looks so miserable. That's us watching this stuff, where they're trying to be, they think they're being funny.
See, I feel like maybe it's a Joker 2 kind of situation where they're trying to torture their audience because they're upset that they like the original movie.
Was it the Clockwork Orange where they have that guy's eyes opened up with those like
Oh,
tweezers? That's
yeah,
what
you
it
can't
feels
look
like
away.
when I hear these cringy and the cringy jokes. I hate it so much. I can't mention how much I hate it, Craig. I just despise it.
Yeah, it's definitely well, apparently people don't like it because no one meant to go see the movie.
It's like the stupid comedy in the Disney Star Wars movies. It just derails it. And the stupid like now I didn't know beforehand that Eric Pearson wrote this. I didn't watch the credits afterwards. Because then as soon as I saw Bumblebee accidentally stab his friends, quote unquote, at the end with his stupid swords, I was like, I clicked off of Paramount Plus immediately. I was done. But I didn't see the credits, so then it makes so much more sense that it has Eric Pearson's name on it because it definitely has that newer Marvel type of dumb people humor.
Well, he's the expert apparently. A lot of his disgusting fingers have touched a lot of the bad Marvel movies.
His foul, gross fingers.
It's like the Strangler from that SpongeBob episode. His fingers, like you see the stink lines coming off them.
So, Craig, if you were to summarize your opinion on Transformers One, what would you say in a sentence?
See, I forgot to say this before, but I feel like I'm being gaslit every time a new non Michael Bay Transformers movies comes out. People keep saying, "Oh, this is like the best thing ever. It's so much better than the Bayformers," and I watch it, and it's always worse.
Well,
I feel
when
like I'm
you
being
say
gaslit
Bayformers,
every
I'm
time.
assuming you mean the first three because the fourth and fifth one are objectively terrible films.
Oh, of course.
Yes,
What I
just for
mean
our
is,
audience, what in case they're like he thinks all of the Bayformers are good.
no. The first three I do enjoy, but when it comes to comparing, like, they saw the Bumblebee movie came out, like, oh, that movie's great. It's better than the original trilogy.
I
You
didn't see
watch
that,
it.
so I
Actually, I
never.
haven't either, but we saw Rise of the Beast. People say that was the best one. I'm like, that was terrible. At least watch this one. It's terrible. I don't like it.
Well, the one thing I just don't understand when these newer Transformers movies, they always cast one guy who they just pick to be the most annoying person in the movie. Pete Davidson, I think his name was Mirage in that movie in Beast Wars: The Rise of the Beasts. He was horrible. He was so annoying. And then of course they get Motor Mouth Keegan Michael Key in this movie, and he's terrible. Stop getting these fast talking guys who are unfunny, at least in the context of the movie. They are unfunny and they're useless. Stop doing it.
I mean, even in real life, I would say they're not funny, but
Well, yeah, I'll give the benefit of the doubt. I don't watch Pete Davidson stand up. I'll give him a pass. And again, I haven't seen a whole lot of Keegan Michael Key and his stuff, but I have seen him in The Predator. He was terrible in that. I'm trying to think of other things I've seen him in.
he was Toad, but he was terrible.
Yeah, he wasn't good as Toad. So I'll give Pete Davidson more of a pass than I will to Keegan Michael Key. I guess the only thing I'll give him a pass on is Key and Peele to show. Whatever. But what else are you gonna say? Was that it? That you're getting gaslit into thinking that these movies are good?
Yeah, I feel like I'm being gaslit because every time again this new movie comes out, it's the best thing ever. It's finally topped, the original '07 Transformers or Dark of the Moon. I'm like, no, I don't think any of these have really topped that. I mean, the only one I would say is maybe better than the Bayformers is the original,
Oh
the
yes,
G1 movie.
that's right.
Other than that, I don't think these movies are all that great.
I've got better things to tonight than die.
And watch this.
I didn't hate it as much as you did. I I wasn't bored throughout the movie, and I think that's always a good indicator. If I'm not bored, I'll usually be more nicer on a movie. But again, as I said countless times, terrible comedy just ruins the movie in some parts. It's like soul sucking, just the terrible comedy.
I want to throw bleach on your brain.
Yeah, I'd rather have Optimus just double tap me than hear these jokes.
Violently kill me.
I don't want Optimus to throw an axe at my head, crunch my arm, and then rip my spine out. I don't want that to happen. But he can double tap me. That's fine.
So, Colin, usually with these kinds of movies, we talk about sequels, but hearing about Hasbro's financial woes and the poor reception, it's probably not going to get a sequel.
hmm
But let's say it does. Where would you take the sequel?
I guess the only sensible way to take the sequel is the start of the Transformers War, I guess, or the middle of it. like the middle to the end, maybe. It would definitely have to be on during the war for Cybertron. Because
That's what
like,
I feel
what
like they were
else would?
trying to set up, but
Yeah, what else would you do?
because that's what I was thinking. I feel like that's what they were trying to set up the eventual Cybertronian civil war, but the Quintessons are still out there. I mean, you would think that I don't know, like maybe they could fight side by side one more time against the Quintessons, and
But
then
then
I
that'd
don't
be
know.
so silly if not them fighting side by side, but them to go back to conflict. Because usually in instances like that where you team up, that usually quells any tension between you like two people. Because you're fighting for something greater than your own like rivalry. So I think it'd be silly if they team up to fight the Quintessons, and then our Megatron at the end is like, "Yeah, I still hate you. I'm gonna fight you now."
I didn't say it was the perfect idea, but to me, that just stuck in my mind because I do like the Quintessons, but I just can't get over the fact that these people are still looming over your planet and the war never ended, and like you're still in the middle of a civil war. Like, are you trying to like annihilate yourself?
Yeah, Optimus really should have tried pleading with Megatron, saying like, "We have bigger things to deal with
We
than
just
our
saw the
squabble."
Quintessons.
Yeah,
Like, have so many ships over our planet, they could wipe us out. I don't think we should have started a civil war right now.
yeah, they're the bigger threat, and I think to feed Megatron and be like, "This is all Sentinel's problem, and let's be better than him, and let's undo it." That's what I would say.
That's also part of the reason why I didn't think Megatron's turn or starting the Civil War was a great idea. If they could, again, maybe over a trilogy build up their friendship and they're falling apart.
Maybe if Megatron just left Optimus, like Optimus doesn't banish him, but Megatron's like, I just need to be left alone. Everything I've known is a lie. I'm just gonna go away and think. Maybe he
Yeah.
wouldn't say that verbatim, but that idea where he removes himself from the situation because he's like, well, what do I know is true if everything I've known is a lie?
Why don't they hire us to write stuff?
Well, I think I'll be like the George Lucas. I'll be the idea guy, and then I would hire someone not named Eric Pearson to write it for me, or
Yeah,
have Adam Wingard direct it. Or have
because
J.J. Abrams produce it.
I mean, I know you, and that's what they're going to. They want to start the Civil War, but I feel like with what they've written, it's not going to make. Then again, these movies
Yeah,
don't really have the greatest continuity, but
especially if you introduce the Quintessons, who are hilariously overpowered in this movie, where they have like a giant ship and they're just blowing up everything. I think that would have been better. Maybe they fight together for the Quintessons, and then maybe like if that's a second movie, and this is with the idea that the ending didn't end like how it did in this movie, where, like I said, Megatron goes on a retreat. Maybe something happens in the second movie after they defeat the Quintessons that makes Megatron turn on Optimus or something, or makes him want to start a civil war. Maybe the Autobots want to handle something differently in Cybertron without the Quintessons there, and then Megatron disagrees.
yeah, or maybe he just comes power hungry. Like you get like one of those Quintess, because the Quintessons are very they're powerful, but they're also very slimy. They use their words to like attack you
Yeah,
and try to
maybe they
be
defeat the
deceptive.
Quintessons, and Megatron wants more. He wants to explore other worlds and to conquer. And maybe that's when Optimus steps in and says, "No, this is not the right way." And then they
No,
have
it's
a
not the only way.
yeah, they have a fundamental disagreement, and then they go to war. And then years later, Optimus Prime rips his spine out.
Everything comes full circle.
It's like poetry; it rhymes. But that's what I would do. Maybe there's a Hasbro employee out there listening to our great ideas. Maybe.
Yeah, right. They're probably looking for a new job because this movie bombed.
They're probably writing suicide notes since the movie bombed.
Yeah, not the best showing from the Transformers movies again.
Yeah, I agree. The past few ones have been a dud. Again, I have not seen Bumblebee. I don't know if that'll be a future episode, but I think we should definitely talk about the Transformers the movie is what it's called. maybe sometime soon because I know we have a schedule that we're gonna do for the next couple of weeks.
People are gonna love our next episode.
Oh yes, Daniel's gonna love it too. With all of that being said, though, Craig, did you get to say everything you want to say about Transformers One, the 2024 box office bomb?
That's it. Like when it's on the grave, something with epitaph, box office bomb, Transformers One.
That's the subtitle on the movie.
Yeah, I think I said everything. I don't really understand why people like it so much. It's not good.
Hmm.
And you can say, "Oh, it's for kids." I mean, we watch stuff that's a lot of stuff that's aimed for, general audience for kids, and I don't think this is. I think you could do better.
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious what the next Transformers like media piece is going to be. Are they going to do a TV show? Are they going to do another movie? Because I doubt they're doing another movie. Because like we said, this underperformed at the box office, or excuse me, it didn't underperform. It bombed. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see.
I mean, they've always had TV shows and stuff. It's just, I was not as into it.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what they do next. But Craig, with all that being said, we have been the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin,
Craig.
and we will see you next time.